My name is Claire Morgan. I'm 28 years old, and until 2 months ago, I thought my family loved me. I sit in that room, the air thick with expensive perfume and polished lies, wondering how I became invisible. The lawyer clears his throat. I already know what's coming. My stomach churns, but I keep my chin up. My fingers grip the armrest of the velvet chair. I won't give them the satisfaction of seeing me fall apart. The will is being read in my parents' estate. The kind of house you only see in magazines or on those reality shows where people wear linen for breakfast. I grew up here, the creaky mahogany staircase, the fireplace my dad used to read next to, the chandelier I hit my head on when I was 10, because I thought swinging from the balcony would be fun. My childhood is carved into every corner of this place. And yet, I feel like a stranger. My sister Olivia is seated across from me, 26. Perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect everything. Even her grief is pretty. She dabs her cheek with a silk handkerchief, as if someone else is doing the crying. She doesn't look at me. She hasn't all day. Mom's wearing her signature pearls, the ones she wears to events where she wants to look respectably sad. Dad, in his best navy blazer, sits beside her like this is some kind of board meeting, not the reading of their own father's will. My grandfather, the only person in this family who ever saw me, the lawyer continues, monotone and methodical. First the charities, then the vacation property, then the stocks. It's all business until he gets to the big one. To Olivia Morgan, he says, not even hesitating. A trust valued at $10 million. Gasps. Even the lawyer flinches slightly, like he didn't expect that. Olivia clasps her hands together in her lap and gives the faintest nod, like this was just natural. And to Claire Morgan, the pause stretches. Everyone's eyes slide toward me. The heat rises to my cheeks. I sit up straighter. I wait. No monetary inheritance. As stated in the amended will, Claire is to receive no financial support and is encouraged to pursue her own success. That's it. No explanation. No property. No heirloom. Not even a damn watch. Just silence, followed by the ticking of the antique grandfather clock in the corner. The only sound in the room, besides my heartbeat pounding in my ears. My mother doesn't look ashamed. If anything, she seems relieved. Like cutting me off was a chore she'd finally checked off her list. My father clears his throat and says flatly, "You're smart, Claire. You'll figure it out." I don't even blink. My voice is steady, but it feels like I'm speaking through a wall. That's it. After everything, my mom reaches into her purse. For a second I think she's pulling out a letter, maybe a token from Grandpa. But no, it's just lip gloss. She dabs it on without flinching. "You always said you didn't want handouts," she says. "We're honoring that." I laugh, a bitter, ugly laugh that doesn't belong in this mansion. I said I didn't want to depend on anyone, not that I didn't matter. Olivia finally looks up, with pity. That smug, polished kind of pity that says I won, and I'm sorry you lost, but not really sorry. "You've always been independent," she says, with a smile that belongs in a campaign ad. "This is your chance to prove it." Prove what? That I can survive being disowned like it's a game? I don't cry. I won't. I walk out of that room with my spine straight and my fists clenched. My heels click against the marble like a war drum. They think this is the end of me. They have no idea what I've been building. When I was 14, I used to write stories in a spiral notebook under my bed. Grandpa found one once. I was embarrassed, thought he'd laugh. But he didn't. He read every page and told me my words mattered. He gave me my first journal, leather-bound, gold-edged, and said, "Write your truth, even if they never listen." Well, they're listening now. Because the truth is, I've spent the last 5 years building a business, quietly, slowly, while Olivia posted designer brunches on Instagram, and Mom curated the perfect garden parties. I built a copywriting agency from the ground up, working nights, weekends, holidays. I had clients in 3 countries before I ghostwrote bestsellers, ran brand campaigns, helped people turn their ideas into movements, but I never told my family. Why would I? They didn't ask. They thought I was floundering, broke, unmarried, wasting my education, as my dad once put it, because success, to them, was yachts and status and a last name that opened doors. To me, it was freedom, and now I have nothing tying me to them. No guilt, no obligation, no inheritance to justify keeping quiet. I get in my car, hands trembling. I drive. I don't even know where I'm going. I just need to breathe, think, let the betrayal settle like dust, because this wasn't just money. This was a message. You're not part of us. But they're about to learn something. When you push someone into the dark, you better pray they don't learn to see in it, because I have. I've built something no one can take away from me, not even my parents. And now, for the first time in my life, I don't want their seat at the table. I want to build my own. I park at the cliffside lookout, one of my favorite quiet places. The ocean crashes below, the skies turning pink and orange. I breathe it in, that cold, salty air that always made me feel small and powerful at the same time. I pull out my phone, one unread email from a client I'd been quietly pitching for months. A big one, Fortune 500, subject, let's talk partnership. And suddenly the $10 million trust doesn't sting the way it did an hour ago. Let them have their legacy. I'm going to build a future they'll wish they could buy into. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't always explode. Sometimes it seeps quietly, like a slow leak you don't notice until the floorboards buckle. And after that, while reading, I can feel it in my bones. Every creak, every collapse. I don't go home that night. Not to my tiny studio apartment where the walls are too thin and the silence is too loud. I drive to a motel 2 towns over, somewhere no one would think to look. It's not fancy. It smells like lemon cleaner and old pillows. But the door locks, and no one here knows my name. That's enough. I sit on the edge of the bed and stare at the email again. Let's talk partnership. My fingers hover over the keyboard. I've been waiting for this company to notice me for years. I sent proposals, case studies, sample decks, everything but a smoke signal. I always thought they were ignoring me, but no, they were watching. And now, they're ready. But here I am, stunned by my own family like I just got thrown out of a moving car. And all I can think is, do I even deserve this? That voice, their voice, is still in my head. My dad's disappointment, my mom's apathy, Olivia's polished sympathy. It loops over and over. Go earn your own. Well, okay then. I type my reply. Thank you for reaching out. I'd love to discuss details. When are you available for a call? My hand shakes a little when I hit send. Not out of fear, out of adrenaline. Because now there's no one holding my safety net. No golden parachute waiting, just me and the sky. The next morning, I go back to my apartment. It's small, with secondhand furniture and books stacked on every surface. But it's mine. No family crest above the door. No designer drapes, just quiet freedom. I water my plants, feed the sourdough starter I forgot about, sweep the front steps. These tiny rituals feel grounding, like reminding the world I'm still here, still standing. My phone buzzes. The client replied. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Zoom. I spend the next 24 hours preparing like I'm about to stand trial. Because in a way, I am. Every slide I tweak, every stat I double check. It's not just to win them over. It's to prove to myself that I'm not some sad daughter discarded by her parents. I am Claire Morgan. And I am damn good at what I do. The call happens fast. Too fast. I log in. There are 3 people on the other end. 2 executives and a woman named Marcy, who clearly runs the show. She's sharp, no nonsense, the kind of woman who doesn't suffer fools or flattery. She asks me to walk them through my process. I do, calmly, confidently. I show them how I increased a startup's revenue by 200% with a single campaign, how I've grown businesses without paid ads, how I can make words do what most people can't with a billboard. When I finish, there's silence. Then Marcy leans forward. Why haven't I heard of you before? I smile. Because I've been working in the shadows? But I'm done hiding now? She doesn't nod. Doesn't smile, just says, "We'll be in touch." And then the screen goes black. I sit there, staring at my own face in the reflection. My eyes are tired, but my jaw is set. I don't need their approval, I need their contract. That night, I dream about the will reading. Only this time I stand up and laugh before the lawyer even opens his mouth. I tear the paper in half and say, "I brought my own pen." When I wake up, I feel lighter, like I finally stopped asking to be chosen. The next week is a blur. I pour myself into my work. I update my website. I raise my rates. I cut off 3 toxic clients who underpaid and overexpected. I draft a pitch for a podcast appearance. I write a blog post titled, "No Inheritance." No problem, I don't publish it. Not yet. But just writing it feels like reclaiming something. Meanwhile, Olivia's everywhere. Her face is on a local news clip about the generous Morgan estate. She posts a picture on Instagram of herself holding a check, yes, the actual check, with the caption, "Grateful for legacy." Ready to honor it. Honor it? She's already booking luxury vacations and talking about launching a lifestyle brand. A lifestyle brand. What does that even mean? She's never worked a full-time job in her life. I watch it all from my phone with a weird sense of detachment. It's like watching someone decorate a palace that was stolen. Then one night, something strange happens. I get a message from Grandpa's attorney. "Claire, I believe there's something you should see. This isn't about the will that was read. It's about the version that came before." My heart drops into my stomach. I stare at the message for a full minute before replying. "What do you mean? Was there a different version?" "Yeah, we should talk. In person." The next day, I meet him at a coffee shop downtown. He's older, with a soft voice and sad eyes. He slides a folder across the table. Inside is a copy of an earlier will dated 6 months before the one that was read aloud. In this version, I'm not cut out. In fact, I'm the primary beneficiary. $8 million, the summer house, Grandpa's journals. I stare at the paper like it's written in fire. Why wasn't this the version they used? I ask, barely breathing. He exhales, folding his hand. "Your grandfather had it updated after a falling out with your parents. He wanted to make sure you were protected, but days before he passed, another will was submitted, handwritten, rushed, and favoring Olivia. Signed?" I ask. "Yes, but sloppily, no witnesses. It came through your father." I look up. My whole body starts shaking. "You're saying?" I can't finish. "I can't say what happened," he says carefully. "But if this earlier will is authentic, and I believe it is, you may have a case. A case. Not just betrayal. Not just exclusion. Fraud. My parents didn't just cut me out. They rewrote me out." That night, I don't sleep. I sit on my floor, surrounded by the things I've built. My client work, my journals, my quiet little empire, and I burn with something I haven't let myself feel in years. Rage. This wasn't just favoritism. This was calculated erasure. They buried my grandfather's love for me under a pile of lies and forged documents. And now I'm done mourning. If they wanted war, they picked the wrong daughter to silence. I don't call anyone. Not yet. I sit with it first. The folder. The truth. The weight of everything I dared not believe until now. The earlier will feels like an echo from the grave. My grandfather reaching out one last time to protect me. And my parents burying it. Faking his final wishes just so Olivia could get the crown. I don't cry. I don't scream. I plan. Because now, I know, this isn't just a betrayal. This is a crime. I call a lawyer the next morning, not the one my parents use. Someone far away from their golf club circles and yacht charity friends. I search for someone with a reputation for scorched earth litigation. Someone with no ties to the Morgan name. Her name is Leah Park. And she doesn't blink when I tell her everything. Forged will, I say, sliding the documents across her desk. Swapped in after he passed. Handwritten. Sloppy signature. No witnesses. She flips through the pages. Her fingers are precise. Her eyes sharp like a hawk. "How much are we talking?" 10 million. I say. And a house. She whistles under her breath. And your parents orchestrated it. I nod. It came through my dad. The lawyer who read it, he said my grandfather left a note explaining the change. But no one's ever seen that note. Leah closes the folder. Claire, if this is real, and we can prove your grandfather was mentally competent when he signed the original version, this isn't just about getting your share back. This is fraud, civil and criminal. That word lands like a stone in my chest. Criminal, as in arrest-worthy. My parent, my sister. For a moment, I feel sick. Not because they don't deserve it, they do, but because this is war. And wars don't come without casualties. I want to move forward, I say quietly. But I want to do it smart. Leah nods. Then let's start digging. The next few weeks are a storm. Depositions, paper trails, bank records, text messages. Leah sends investigators after the notary who refused to sign the fake will. We track down my grandfather's personal nurse, who confirms what I already knew. He was sharp as a tack, even at the end. He talked about Claire every day. He said she was his only real legacy. Those words make me cry. For the first time since that awful will reading, I let myself grieve, not just for what they took from me, but for him. For the man who believed in me when no one else did, and now I get to fight for him. But I don't tell anyone. Not yet. I play nice. I watch from the sidelines while Olivia launches her lifestyle brand, Morgan Grace. Can you believe it? Morgan Grace. She wears linen and hosts fake wellness retreats for bored rich women who've never worked a day in their lives. She sells peaceful abundance, while the house she lives in was built on a lie. My mom does interviews about raising successful daughters. My dad speaks at some private equity event about legacy. They parade their deception like royalty. But behind the curtain, things are shifting. Leah uncovers a crucial piece. The digital version of the will, the one we do believe was real, was saved in Grandpa's cloud drive 3 days before he died. It's time-stamped, locked, untouched since. And best of all, it's signed digitally. That changes everything. Because now, we have proof that my grandfather's intent was altered after his death. Leah prepares the lawsuit. Fraud, forgery, interference with inheritance. We file it under seal, quietly, strategically, but not for long. 2 weeks later, my mother called, her voice tight, like something's cracked beneath the surface. Claire, we heard from an attorney today. What is this about? I let the silence stretch. Then I say, flatly, it's about truth. Don't do this. She hisses. You'll ruin the family name. I almost laugh. You already did that when you erased me. I hang up. And just like that, the roles are reversed. They're the ones scrambling now. The news breaks a few days later. Morgan family estate faces legal battle over alleged will fraud. It spreads like fire. Suddenly, Olivia's brand partners go quiet. Her next event gets postponed. My parents go radio silent. I don't gloat, not outwardly. But inside, I feel something uncoil in me. Something that's waited years to stretch and breathe and stand. I'm not the black sheep anymore. I'm the storm. My phone rings. It's a reporter. Then another. I decline every call. I don't want attention. I want justice. One morning, I get an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside is a letter, handwritten. I recognize the cursive immediately. My grandfather's. Claire, if you're reading this, they've probably taken everything from you, but they cannot take your voice. Use it. You always knew how to speak for yourself. Now speak for me. I chose you for a reason, not because of blood, but because of character. Finish what I couldn't. Love, Grandpa. I don't remember when I start crying, only that I don't stop for a long, long time. That's the moment I know. This isn't just about getting my share. It's about honoring him. That summer house. It's where we used to fish and read and talk for hours. That trust fund, he meant for me to use it to build something meaningful, to expand the business he encouraged me to start. They tried to erase me, but he left me a map. And now, I'm following it. Leah sets the trial date. We move forward. My parents hire a PR firm to control the damage. Olivia goes quiet online. She changes her Instagram bio from founder to in transition. The last time I see her before the court date, we're in the courthouse lobby. She looks tired, pale. Her hands shake slightly when she sees me. "You really want to tear us apart?" she whispers. I tilt my head. "You already did. I'm just holding up the mirror." She blinks, like she wasn't expecting me to be so calm. I don't shout. I don't throw things. I simply walk into that courtroom, knowing the truth is finally louder than the silence they shoved me into. Courtrooms don't look like they do on TV. They're not dramatic. They're not full of gasps and righteous speeches. They're cold, sterile, beige walls and overhead lights that buzz faintly, like they're annoyed to be here too. But I sit up straight at that table next to Leah. I wear a simple black dress. No jewelry, no makeup, just me. Just truth. Across from me, my parents look like a crumbling portrait. My father's jaw is clenched so tight I can see the pulse in his neck. My mother hides her face behind a pair of sunglasses she refuses to take off indoors. Olivia? She won't even look at me. She keeps her eyes down like the floor is the only thing that won't judge her. The judge walks in. Everyone rises. And just like that, the trial begins. It's quiet, methodical, one piece of evidence at a time. Leah presents the original will, the one dated 6 months before my grandfather died, the digital file, the timestamp, the electronic signature, the cloud record that shows it was never altered. She doesn't embellish. She doesn't grandstand. Then she presents the handwritten version, the one my father submitted. No witness. Sloppy penmanship. A signature that even the forensic expert says raises red flags. I sit there, heart pounding in my ears, while they dissect the lies. The financial records come next. Transfers made days after the will was filed. New accounts opened in Olivia's name. My parents wiring funds from the trust account before probate was even cleared. It's all so bold, so arrogant. And suddenly I'm not surprised they did this. I'm surprised they thought they'd never be caught. When it's time for witnesses, Leah calls the nurse who cared for Grandpa in his final days. "I was with him the night before he passed," she says softly. "He asked if I could help him send an email. It was to Claire." I freeze. She pulls out a printed copy. "He said he wasn't sure she'd get the will in time, so he wanted to write something else just in case." The email is short, but it hits like thunder. "Claire, if they try to silence you, don't let them. You're the only one who truly saw me. And I saw you. Always. Grandpa." There it is. Proof. Not just of his intent, but of his love. Across the room, my mother shifts uncomfortably. My father whispers something to their lawyer. Olivia buries her face in her hands. When it's my turn on the stand, I don't shake. I look the judge in the eye. I speak clearly. My grandfather raised me to believe in honesty. He taught me how to write, how to build, how to think. He left me more than money. He left me his values. I pause. And they tried to erase that. For a bigger house. For press coverage. For pride. Leah gently nods. She doesn't need to say a word, because everything we need is already here. We rest our case. The defense fumbles. They try to explain the handwritten will. A last-minute change. A dying man's wish. Informal but valid. The judge doesn't buy it, especially not when the handwriting analyst confirms the signature on the second will is inconsistent with every known sample from Mr. Morgan over the past decade. It takes less than a week for the ruling. I don't attend the final day in court. I sit at the lookout by the ocean, the one I've always loved, and wait for Leah's call. She doesn't make me wait long. "You won," she says. Her voice calm, even, but I can hear the satisfaction beneath it. The judge nullified the second will. The original stands. "You've been awarded full restitution, the trust, the house, and additional damages." He also referred the matter to the district attorney. I blink. "Criminal charges?" "Yes." "Fraud, forgery, potential jail time." I don't speak for a long time. Not because I'm surprised, because I never actually thought justice would feel so quiet. like a glass finally set down, like breath returning to your chest. That night I drive past the mansion, the house I was raised in, the house that turned cold the second my grandfather died. There's a for sale sign out front. I don't stop. I don't need to. Let them sell it. Let them downsize. Let them whisper at garden parties about how things got messy. I'm not theirs anymore. And they were never really mine. Instead, I drive to the summer house, the one my grandfather left me, the one they tried to bury. It's quiet, covered in dust and ivy. The porch sags. The windows creak, but it's still standing. Like me, I unlock the door. The air smells like wood and memory. I find his journals in the study, his old chair, the one where I used to sit curled up next to him while he read. And for the first time since the will reading, I cry without shame, because this isn't just a victory. It's a return to the truth, to myself. The next day, I hire a restoration crew. We're going to bring this place back to life. I'm turning it into something new. A retreat for women like me, disowned, dismissed, forgotten. A place where they can build again, where they can be seen. I name it the second will. Because sometimes, the one they try to erase is the one that changes everything. But just when I think the chapter is closed, I get an envelope in the mail. No return address. No marking. Just my name, written in Olivia's handwriting. I tear it open. Inside is a single photo. Us, as kids, on the dock by the summer house. Our arms around each other, smiling, before all of this. On the back she wrote, I didn't know, not at first. I thought I deserved it. I see now. I was just the favorite, not the heir. I'm sorry. No signature, no number, just silence. And for once I let it be enough. Because some things can't be undone, but they can be left behind. The first night I sleep at the summer house, it rains. Not just a drizzle, a full storm. Thunder rolling through the hills, wind howling through the rafters, and sheets of rain hammering the windows like the sky's trying to break in. And somehow I feel safe. I lie there in my grandfather's old bed, listening to the storm beat against the roof, and I think, this house has been through worse. So have I. In the morning, everything is quiet. The air smells like pine and wet earth. The trees drip with silver light, and I feel new. It takes weeks to clean the place, months to make it livable, but I pour myself into it, sanding, painting, planting, fixing what's broken with my own hands. I leave the journals on the shelf where they always were. I keep the furniture the same, except I add a long table near the front window, a writing space for future guests. Because the second will isn't just a name, it's a purpose. This place isn't going to be another luxury spa or overpriced influencer haven, like Olivia dreamed of. It's going to be a refuge, a healing space for women who were shut out, cut off, erased by the people who were supposed to love them most. I know there are thousands of us, maybe millions, women who were told they weren't enough, who were laughed at, passed over, told to make it on their own with nothing but a bruised heart and an empty wallet. Well, now they'll have a place to land. I start small. I reach out to a few online forums where women share their stories of family betrayal. I don't name names. I don't talk about the court case. I just say, I'm starting something. A place to stay, rest, write, rebuild. For women like us, let me know if you need a weekend away. The messages pour in. A woman whose mother sold her car while she was in the hospital. A woman disinherited for leaving her church. A woman who spent a decade caring for aging parents, only to be called a burden in their final breath. I read every message. Some make me angry. Some make me cry. All of them remind me why this place matters. And then, someone shows up. Her name is Erin. She's 34. Red curls. Soft-spoken. She arrives with a single backpack, and a look in her eyes I recognize instantly, like she's holding herself together with string. We don't talk much that first night. She sits on the porch with a cup of tea, staring at the trees. I leave her be. Healing doesn't need commentary. By day 3, she's journaling again. By day 5, She smiles when she walks into the kitchen. By day 7, she hugs me goodbye and whispers, "You saved me." I don't correct her. But later, when I'm alone in the garden, I say it out loud to the wind. You saved yourself. The press gets wind of what I'm doing. They're hungry for the follow-up to the Morgan scandal. The disinherited daughter who took back her legacy. They call me. I agree to one interview. 1. I sit on the porch swing, legs tucked under me, and tell the journalist the truth. I didn't want revenge, I say. I wanted recognition. I wanted my grandfather's words to mean something. And when I realized they still did, even after death, I knew it wasn't about the money. It was about memory, about making sure no one could rewrite my story again. The article goes viral. Suddenly, the second will has a waiting list. Donations come in. A retired therapist volunteers to lead weekend retreats. A carpenter offers to help restore the dock. A small publishing house reaches out, asking if I'd consider compiling the stories of the women who stay here into an anthology. I say yes, because every page they write is another thing their families can't take from them. One afternoon, I'm cleaning out the attic when I find a dusty old box marked Claire. It's my grandfather's handwriting. Inside are drawings I made as a kid, old Polaroids of me fishing and laughing and running barefoot down the hill. There's a birthday card from when I turned 15, the year my parents forgot, and a tiny tape recorder, wrapped in a scarf. I press play. His voice fills the attic like he's standing right beside me. Claire Bear, you're probably rolling your eyes at that nickname right now. I hope this tape finds you older, stronger, wiser, and still weird as hell. I laugh through tears. If things get dark, remember this. Your light doesn't depend on anyone else's switch. You were born with it. Let it burn. Let it guide you home. I clutch that recorder to my chest and cry for everything I lost, and everything I found on the other side. Then, out of nowhere, a letter arrives from Olivia. It's handwritten, pages long. Claire, I've watched everything. I've read the articles. I've seen what you've built. And I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know who I was in that courtroom. I thought I deserved it, because I was always the favorite. I never asked why you weren't. But now, I wonder if maybe you were just too much like Grandpa for them to handle. And maybe I was just easy. I'm sorry. I don't want anything from you. I just wanted to say, I was wrong. I stare at the letter for a long time. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her. Not fully, but something softens. Because she didn't have to send this. And because some people never look back at all. I write back. One line. The door is open, but don't come to be comforted. Come to learn. I never hear from her again. But 2 months later, I find a donation in the retreat's mailbox. No name, just a check and a sticky note. For the next woman who needs to remember her worth. I recognize the handwriting. It's been a year now. The house is full. The walls echo with laughter and tears, and typing keys and coffee mugs clinking on porches. Women arrive with nothing and leave with journals, job offers, friends, poems, business plans. The world tried to write us out, but we rewrote ourselves in. And me? I no longer need to prove anything. Not to my parents. Not to Olivia. Not even to the memory of who I used to be. Because I stood in the storm, and I built a home inside it. Sometimes I walk the garden paths barefoot. The soil soft under my feet, still cool from the night. The lavender is blooming now, and the air smells like something between peace and memory. It's quiet here in the mornings, and I like it that way. When I first came back to this house, I wasn't sure I could stay. Too many ghosts in the corners, too many echoes in the wood. But now it feels like mine, not because a court said so, not because I won, but because I earned it, by breathing life back into it, and into myself. The second will has become something bigger than I imagined. We host 5 women at a time. They stay anywhere from a weekend to a month. Some come to write, some come to rest, some just come to remember that they matter. They arrive quiet, raw, sometimes with shaking hands or bruises that don't show. They sit at the table in silence for the first few meals, unsure of how to take up space. But something happens around day 3, always around day 3. A laugh breaks out. A story gets told. A truth gets released. And I see the light returning to their eyes. I don't lead the groups. I don't claim to be a therapist or a savior. I'm just here, like a lighthouse. I don't pull them in. I just shine. One night, after everyone's gone to bed, I sit outside with a woman named Janine. She's 60. Short, gray curls, tough as nails. She came after her son cut her off, told her she wasn't relevant anymore after she retired. She hasn't spoken much all week, but tonight she sips her tea and says, "You know what burns the most? I wasn't even angry. I believed him." I nod slowly. I believed them too. She turns to me, eyes sharp. "But not anymore?" I shake my head. "Not anymore." She exhales. "Good, because you built a hell of a place here, Claire. This is legacy. Legacy. That word hits me in a way the money never did, because that's what my grandfather meant. Not trust funds or estates. Impact. The kind of love that echoes after you're gone. The kind that grows something bigger than grief. And I'm watching it grow. Right here. In my backyard. One afternoon, I get a letter. Thick paper. Expensive. The kind of envelope that feels important before you even open it. Inside is an invitation. A local university is honoring my grandfather posthumously. Turns out, someone read the viral article and looked into his private philanthropic work. Donations, mentorships, community scholarships he funded quietly for years. They're naming a wing of the business school after him, and they want me to speak. Me, not my father, not Olivia. Me. For a moment, I just stare at the paper. Then I laugh. Because somewhere, I know my grandfather is probably raising a glass and saying, "Took them long enough." I agree to the speech. Not for recognition, for him. For the kid I used to be, scribbling stories under the covers with a flashlight. Because I didn't feel seen. For the young woman who walked out of that will reading with empty hands and a roaring fire in her chest. I stand on that stage 2 weeks later in a navy blue dress and sensible heel. The auditorium is full. Alumni, faculty, students. My knees shake, but my voice doesn't. I used to think legacy was about what you left behind, I say. But now I know. It's about what you build while you're here. My grandfather didn't just leave me money. He left me courage. He saw value where others saw rebellion. He gave me permission to become something no one in my family expected. Free. I pause, look out into the crowd. And because of that, I built a place called the Second Will. For women who've been forgotten, underestimated, or erased by their families, their partners, their employers. Women who, like me, learned that the only inheritance worth fighting for is the one you create for yourself. The applause is thunderous. But that's not what matters. What matters is the tearful young woman who finds me afterward and whispers, "My mother told me I wasn't worthy of her last name." I believed her, until tonight. What matters is that I drive home to a full house, the windows glowing, the porch buzzing with laughter, the dinner table already set by women who feel like family. What matters is that I don't flinch when I see a new letter waiting on the porch. This one is different. Plain envelope, shaky handwriting, from my father. I carry it inside, sit at my desk, and take a deep breath before opening it. "Claire, I know you don't want to hear from me. I wouldn't either. I'm not writing to justify what I did. There's no justification. Only raw. I let pride make decisions. Love should have guided. I told myself we were preserving the family name, but all I preserved was a lie. Your mother doesn't believe we were wrong. She still doesn't. But I do. I see it now, and I can't unsee it. You were never just earning your own. You were becoming more than we ever allowed ourselves to understand. I won't ask for forgiveness. I just want you to know, I'm sorry, and I'm proud of you. Dad." I fold the letter carefully. I don't cry. I don't feel anger. just a strange, quiet release. He's not asking to be welcomed back. He's not trying to reclaim his place. He's just telling the truth, finally. And maybe that's all I needed from him in the first place. Weeks pass. A foundation offers to sponsor 5 scholarships a year for women who've stayed at the second will. One of our guests gets a book deal. Another lands a job with a nonprofit that changes laws for survivors. The house is alive now, with purpose, with stories, with healing. And still, sometimes in the stillness of early morning or the hush just before sleep, I think about that day in the will reading room, the silence, the empty look in my mother's eyes. It doesn't haunt me anymore. It reminds me that sometimes being cut out of the family legacy is what gives you the power to build your own. And that power? It's something no one can write you out of. There's a wall in the study now, not a physical wall, but a growing one. It's covered in photographs, pinned with gold thumbtacks and soft twine. Each photo is a story, a scar turned into something sacred. Smiling women on the dock, notebooks in their laps, barefoot walks through the garden, late-night bonfire circles, first pages of memoirs, scribbled in shaky handwriting. A ceramic mug someone made in our little weekend pottery class. A tiny framed quote someone left behind, "I was never broken, just buried." I call it the living legacy wall. It's what the second will is about now, not just healing from betrayal, but rewriting what legacy means. Not a pile of money, not a name engraved on a plaque, but lives touched, voices restored, truth reclaimed. One afternoon, as I'm hanging a new photo, a young woman beaming in the kitchen, flour on her cheeks, I hear footsteps behind me. It's Leah, my lawyer. We haven't spoken face to face in months, but she looks the same, sharp, polished, eyes that miss nothing. "You're hard to catch these days," she says, setting down a tote bag. "I'm not hiding," I smile. "Just busy doing everything they said I couldn't." She nods toward the wall. "So I see." Then she pulls out a folder. "I wanted to bring this myself. The estate officially closed last week. The final transfer's complete. The house, the trust, everything your grandfather meant for you. It's yours. Clean, final, no strings." I take the folder, my fingers brush the edge like it's something holy. "I didn't think I needed this anymore," I whisper. "But it feels like closure." Leah smiles gently. "Sometimes justice doesn't roar. Sometimes it just lets you breathe again." She's right, 'cause this moment is quiet. No courtroom, no headlines, no gasps, just the soft hum of peace. And yet it's louder than anything I felt the day they read that first will. We have tea on the porch, Leah and I, watching 2 of our guests plant new herbs in the garden. "You ever think about expanding?" she asks. I nod. "Eventually. But not too fast. This place works because it's personal. Every woman who walks through that door feels seen. That's the point." She tilts her head. "You've come a long way from the girl who sat in my office, shaking with rage." I chuckle. "Yeah, that girl didn't know she was allowed to build her own world. She thought she had to fight for a seat at someone else's table. And now, I smile. I built my own table, and the women here, they bring their own chairs. We sit in silence for a while, just listening to the birds, the laughter, the breeze moving through the tall trees. Then Leah leans over, lowers her voice. "There's a rumor going around your sister's brand is dissolving." I don't react. I already knew. I'd heard whispers months ago, unpaid vendors, canceled events, an apology video that never quite landed. Morgan Grace lost its shine. Turns out, when your foundation is stolen, nothing you build on top of it stands very long. But I don't smile at that, because truthfully, I'm not angry at Olivia anymore. I'm just distant. Like she's a dream I woke up from. "Do you ever think about talking to her?" Leah asks. I sip my tea. I did. Once. But I realized. Forgiveness doesn't mean reunion. Some people are chapters, not whole books. She nods slowly. And your parents? I look out across the land, the hills, the trees, the dock. They gave me their answer at the will reading. I gave them mine in court. We're done. Leah doesn't press, because she knows some wounds you don't reopen. Not out anger, but out of mercy for yourself. That fall, I start a program we call The Rewrite. It's a 4-week residency for women writing through trauma, memoirs, essays, poetry, anything that helps them take back the narrative they were denied. We have guest speakers, workshops, silent mornings, and loud dinners full of bad jokes and soft tears, and at the end of every cycle they each leave behind one page, framed and hung in a hallway we now call the passage. One reads, "They buried me and said I was selfish. I say planting yourself elsewhere isn't selfish, it's survival." Another, "My healing is not an apology." Each one is a lighthouse. One evening, I find myself in that hallway alone. I walk slowly, touching the frames, reading each quote like scripture, and I realize, this is my inheritance. This is what Grandpa saw in me. Not the money, not the lawsuit, the fight, the belief that I mattered, even when everyone else forgot. I stop in front of a blank space on the wall. My turn. I take out a piece of paper. I write in ink. Steady hand, steady heart. They gave my sister $10 million. They gave me silence. I built an empire with it. And I smile, because they never saw it coming, because I didn't need their permission to bloom, because in the end, I didn't just claim what was mine. I created something they could never take.